What's up, guys? Welcome to Nutmeg, a podcast where Yank and a Brit talk about the beautiful game from across the pond. I am Andrew, representing the Stars and Stripes, and today in the whole city kit, gotta look fresh for the guys. And we have Faisal holding down the crown in the UK, but over in Dubai at the moment. My guy, what is up?
Good, man. I'm excited. It's been a while. I have got lots to discuss, lots to talk about. I'm ready to get stuck in, man.
Let's do it. Well, let's start off, as usual, with the fun stuff. We have our Nutmegged of the week we're going to dive into. I'll toss you mine really quickly. It is a bit dramatic, then we'll hear from you. So there was a horrific own goal over the weekend in the Australian A-League. If you've not seen it, just Google Wellington Phoenix own goal. So Auckland opened up the scoring against Wellington Phoenix in the 23rd minute of this match, when defender Jake Girdwood reached. He cleared the ball from near his own box and just cleared it away and sent it sailing way past the halfway line, just a clear boot. All right, now I'm going to try to say the goalkeeper's name. First name easy, Josh. His last name is Oluwayemi. Sounds good to me. A former Tottenham youth player, mind you. He kind of scampered out of his box. This ball went so far, so he's like, okay, cool, I'm going to go out of my box, and I'm going to try to head the ball away. Even though there were no defenders around him, not sure why he didn't just wait for the ball to bounce and come back into his box. But he heads it. It kind of goes off the back of his head and goes right back into his own net. Not ideal. My guy, just wait, relax, let the ball bounce, catch it. You're a keeper. You're allowed to do that. Not only is that a piece of the nutmeg, there's an extra slice of cake for you. The Wellington Phoenix, their squad, they lost 5-0. Then right after that game, their manager, Giancarlo Italiano, I think that's how you say his name. What an Italian name right there. He resigned on the spot. So not only a horrific own goal from the goalkeeper, which didn't need to happen, their manager also said, yeah, after seeing that and the 5-0 result, I am out of here. So that's the nutmeg of the week for me.
It's a double whammy there. There's a few different elements to that. You're scoring on goals and your manager's like, that. I've seen enough. That is me. I'm done. Mine is a bit more kind of technical. So we're looking at the championship here, actually. So it's around point deductions and Leicester City at the moment. So it's going to give you like a top line of it. So at the moment, Leicester City have been deducted 6 points in the 2026 EFL Championship for breaching profit and sustainability. Right. So that and financial loss limits them over a 3-year period. Right. And then obviously they're now deep in the relegation battle in the championship at the moment. It's not looking good. However, they are due to appeal this. So it could be a nutmegged, it may not be a nutmegged, but they're due to appeal this, right? Now, the thing with these sorts of appeals is, at the moment, obviously they've been docked 6 points, right? Now, if they appeal this, it can go two ways, right? Now, they can either get that sort of, uplift, etc., and get those 6 points away from them and keep it moving. The alternative is them getting docked even further more points. So they're taking a risk here. If they could be docked potentially up to 20 points in addition to that as well. So that would be a massive, massive issue. You'd argue that you take the 6 points and, you carry on and you say, do you know what, I'm going to be better and we're going to keep it moving. Or you go this way. So you may or may not. It's a risk. It's a calculated risk. The Paps have gone with the angle of, look, I'm pretty sure we're going to win this one. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have risked it. But they do risk it. It's a big loss. And unfortunately for Leicester City, which is sad times from where they originally were Premier League champions to where they're currently doing at the moment, battling in that championship with that 6 point deduction. It's not looking good. So I'm going to go with that and say could be potential nutmegged, or they could get out of this little nutmeg of the week. We'll find out. But that is the current situation. They've got a new appeal hearing, which will be scheduled for the judicial panel, with the goal being resolved before the end of the EFL season. So we'll probably come back here and see, did they do well? Did they not? So yeah. Best of luck to Leicester City.
It's kind of like a small nutmeg already. It's almost like the ball's kind of through your legs, but then it's up to the defender to make sure that the guy that is trying to nutmeg you doesn't get around you and get the ball. So I guess we'll tune back in to see if that is a true nutmeg or not. Granted, losing 6 points is never fun.
Of course.
Kind of though, what do you do? So if you already know you've lost these 6 points, do you then just spend a bunch of money, bring in a bunch of players, yeah, and then just try to get promoted because if you get promoted, you're essentially going to break even or if not make money.
I reckon so. Like, what you got to lose realistically?
Yeah.
Right. Like in that moment, you may as well just kind of go hard or go home situation, right? So you might as well bring in the players, get up the leagues, just try it. That's probably why potentially they're trying to appeal it, because they know the potential. If they lose it, they'll take that risk. If they lose it, it's gonna be a massive. But they'll continue on. They'll just potentially get to the level they want to get. But for me, it's sad though, because I like Leicester City as a club.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd love to see him back in the Premier League.
Oh man, that would be so good. I mean, obviously, it won't be the same, but I'll never forget. You never forget where you were when Leicester won the Premiership, in my opinion. Like never, like everyone's watching that Spurs game. We know where we were at. Like you always remember. So yeah, good for them. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I would prefer to see Hull City right here sneaking back into the Premier League. We are in the playoff spots right now, so we're looking good. But let's talk about a team that has been kind of a butt of getting nutmegged over like the past, 3-4 seasons now? We've talked about it multiple times on this podcast. You and myself are fans of this team. And this is, of course, no one else but Manchester United. But it's rare because we actually get to have a positive conversation about Manchester United for once. So before we dive too deep into the weeds of how they're actually performing now, what is the vibe of being a Manchester United fan for you right now?
Well, what is the vibe? The vibe of being a Manchester United fan at the moment is proudly, after the past 5 games, going into the office, knowing that you're not going to get rinsed. You're not going to get what happened on the weekend. Or how many goals situation? Or is Amorim still... Not, you're not getting that. You're not the butt of the jokes. You're feeling confident. You're going into games. You're going around other football fans and saying, yeah, I'm a Manchester United fan. We're having a better season. Rather than, yeah, I know, I'm a Manchester United. Yeah. Like, you get the, unlucky mate situation. Now, I feel we're more confident. As a person, I'm a lot more confident. I'm actually watching the games. I mean, you're probably the same at the moment. I'm actually trying to figure out the performances. I feel energized. And I remember I saw a tweet somewhere where someone said, like, I need to just quit my job and just become a full-time Manchester United fan and just follow Man United. Because the way we're playing at the moment... it feels good, man. It feels fresh. It feels exciting, which are 3 words I didn't think I would use in Manchester United this season.
A lot of this hype comes from a new manager who is in place after Ruben Amorim was let go. Maybe worthy so, maybe not. We can discuss that in a second. But let's talk about our new manager, who is a familiar face to Old Trafford. Michael Carrick. He has been unbeaten since taking over in January as the interim boss. So not necessarily long-term quite yet. That could change depending on what United's situation looks like at the end of the season, but unbeaten in Premier League matches. And that's on top of big results like beating Manchester City and Arsenal, some of the top echelon of the Premier League right now. So some of the players within the club have reportedly tried to advise the board and some other individuals inside of the club, not just players, saying Carrick knows what it takes to win here and they want him to be appointed full-time. So now, do you think, and would you have thought previously, that Michael Carrick being in charge of Manchester United was the answer? So give me 2 takes. First, the take of, before this time, would you have appointed Michael Carrick as a manager? And now looking at the fact of saying, hey, he is the manager, he's doing well, should he stay?
2 very different questions and 2 very different answers I'm going to give here. For the first question, did I think that he would be a good manager or a good appointment interim? So there was this whole conversation of potentially Solskjaer coming in. Then there was potentially Solskjaer and Carrick coming in. And I thought to myself, we're doing this again, aren't we? We're doing this whole, like, that nostalgia, let's bring in the players. We had Rui van Nistelrooy for that game. You know, we're kind of going back to our players because they're the spirit of the club, right? They know they play for the badge. They know what it takes to be a Manchester United player. There's a different mentality for being a Manchester United player than I would argue any other club, right? So did I see it? Probably not. And of course I'm happy at the moment, but I need to temper this like excitement and this hype, right? Because we've had 6 games now, right? And out of the 6 games, all we've really seen is 6 solid performances. trajectory and points linking up together. Amazing. Does this mean full-time, he's that manager? I don't think yet. Right now. And the way I would see this is, let's give it another 5 more games. Let's see where we are when we're playing, for example, likes of Chelsea. Let's say where we are playing, where we've actually got a chance in that solid top 4. We're actually gunning games and being top 4. Then I would definitely consider it. I'm not the sort of manager or the sort of person that feels like we need like a manager who's like the Spain coach, for example, or like previous managers who are very like Thomas Tuchel or like Southgate, or these really like massive exclusive managers. I don't think we need that. I think we need someone consistent is where my head's at the moment. Do you agree? What are you thinking?
You said the right word. The word is consistent. However, I'm going to go even deeper and double down and say Michael Carrick should absolutely be the manager of Manchester United. He should be locked in, maybe not announced quite yet to the public, but if I'm running United, I'm going to Carrick and saying, hey, you've done a great job. You've simplified things and you've made things consistent, which are the 2 things that you should be doing as a manager to make it easier on your players to get better results. Make life simple for all of the players on your roster so that they can perform and worry about less stuff like the drama that's been going on at Manchester United for so long, way too long. So I'm going to Carrick and saying, you're going to be the manager. We're not going to announce you yet, but now take this time that you have for the remainder of the season to build your ideal supporting players that you want us to sign in the upcoming transfer window, as well as the support staff that you want to get added after you're fully announced as manager. So then that will give us time to try to sign some of those players, get those deals shaped up, as well as get the managers that you want in to support you on your staff. So then you're hitting the ground running next season. We're ready to go. So that gives him the confidence that he needs going into next season, also has all the supporting pieces that he wants, and then we're aiming for the top of the table next year. That's what I would love to see.
Ooh. I get it. Consistency at the club we've not had. So you're arguing that, look, we've got a good thing here. Let's not screw it up. I'm realistic. I'm trying to be realistic, and I love Carrick at the moment right now. If I see another 5 more games, if I see a bit more consistency, because for me, I saw the Everton game, it just felt there was a little fall off on performance, a little bit. We got that 1-0, that's what matters. And that West Ham game. So the past 2 games, I've seen perhaps us not being as good as the previous 4 games. There's a little dip in performance. And I think of the opinion, Man United at the moment are playing 1 game a week. Right. There's other clubs who are playing Champions League football, who are doing FA Cup runs. We have, in my opinion, there needs to be a consistent level of performance where it's like we're winning games, we're confident, like we're not waiting to bring on Sesko in the 60th minute. Like I want to see that energy across the games, because we've got all Carrick is essentially focusing on, and this is why I'm a bit more like, I'm trying to think of it more long term, is that Carrick, if he is the new manager in the future, then he's got Cup runs to go on, he's potentially got Champions League to go on. And do you see Carrick Champions League, Man United against Real Madrid, is Carrick on the sidelines for that game? That's what you got to think about.
Hope so. I hope he's on the sideline. I mean, he's played in games like that, so he knows what it takes as a player. I think the 2 things that Carrick has that we have not had at United for the past 5 years plus, really since Fergie, is the simplicity and the consistency of a manager that knows what he's doing. He knows how to win in the Premier League in big matches, and he creates an environment that allows the players to flourish by just doing easy things, which makes me want to punch myself in the face for all the managers that have been there for so long and have not done this. Literally make it as easy as possible for your players to perform well on the field. Get rid of distractions. That's the simplicity part. And he's done that. He's made the formation much simpler. He runs a system that the players fully understand. They know how to run. There's not a bunch of fancy things of switches and adjustments making that are happening on the pitch. Sure, there are a few things, but it's so simple, and he makes sure the players understand it. Beautiful. Now the consistency piece. He is bringing in players that are, one, being consistent on the pitch, and then having those players regularly in communication with him and regularly on the pitch allows them to perform to the level that they're used to and should be performing at. Kobe Mainu, perfect example of this. He was on the outskirts of the roster when Amorim was in there. We all know he had talent. So what the heck was Amorim doing? poor communication with him, didn't manage him appropriately as a player, but now he's on the pitch consistently and one of the best players on the pitch regularly for Manchester United because Carrick knows what he's doing. So I am usually not a proponent of, a manager has a good run of games as an interim, sign him right away. However, this is something that looks and feels different, and it's not something that all managers normally do. And when you find a manager doing these simple things right and allowing your players to play the way that they're playing, especially if you're Manchester United, you got to lock him down. Plus, he just has the pedigree of being a Manchester United man. Why would you not do this? Goodbye.
But is that potentially that Amorim's just was so bad? Isn't just Carrick showing how we should just kept it really simple? And arguably, it's not just Carrick. Any manager could have picked up Man United, put Kobe Mainoo back in the starting lineup, right? Done like actual proper football, and been like, fine. Like, I like Carrick as a person, but I just feel like the bar is so low with Amorim that I feel like most managers could have come in, swept the current situation, put players in, and just started.
I don't think that it is as easy as you're making it out to be. Definitely the bar is much lower because Amorim was not good at all, and he was so inflexible. He would not adjust his system to make things simpler for players. He didn't communicate with players the right way to try to amp them up, to get them in the headspace that they need to be in. But Carrick is doing the base level of what you want a manager to do. Then you can build on top of that. So it is kind of what Pep does with a team. So when Pep comes into a team, when he came into City, he had a very specific idea of how he wanted his team to play. But he started with the foundational elements, made sure that they had all of the foundation created correctly, they have the right players in the right positions. Then now you look at City and they have all these diverse formational things. Sometimes they take one of their outside backs and use them as a midfielder in their build-up. So they have a lot of weird tactical wrinkles, but that wasn't implemented right away. And now that they have that structure in place on a solid foundation, they're dominant. Even when they're going through a rough form, they're still toward the top of the table, which ideally is what you want to get to. And I think Carrick can do that. Plus, he just has some of that DNA from Fergie, which whenever you can have some Fergie DNA injected into your managerial abilities, I'm here for it all day.
You talk about flexibility as well. I think key really for me in terms of flexibility was Sesko, bringing Sesko on. It's even the West Ham game. I think he brought him in late. I think it was late in the actual game, and he's really learnt that if I want to grab a goal, I would bring either. Most likely he may start Sesko later on in the next game, but at the same time, there is a feeling that I learnt from the previous game. I'm bringing Sesko on earlier, and he brought him on like 56th minute or something like that in the Everton game, and we know what happens next. So thoughts on Sesko? You thinking should he be starting? I mean, obviously you're a fan, but what's the current situation on Sesko?
I do love Sesko. When we signed him, I was super excited because he has such a unique build as a player. He's like a tall, lanky, muscly boy, and he can jump real high. So if you've seen Cristiano Ronaldo, some of those like freeze frames of him jumping up to win a header and he's like jumping over a building essentially, Sesko has the same type of jump in his legs. So when he goes up and wins a ball, on top of being tall in general, he's going to be doing that quite often. So I was very excited for him and his athleticism when he came in. I was disappointed with his form as well as how Amorim used him when he came in originally. And I was like, here we go. Another solid signing, great potential, and we're just going to flush him down the toilet. Then he's going to transfer somewhere else, and then he's going to actually be the player that we expected him to be. Thankfully, Carrick, again with the simplicity and making sure we have a system in place that can get the best out of players, it has been great. It's been awesome to see him scoring the goals that he has scored, especially making a difference when you need a playmaker, when you're drudging down, it's a tough game, things aren't going your way, but then you bring in a spark like a Sesko, and when you could do that off the bench, and then he could score a winner, it's just perfect. I am very excited to see what he will do as a Manchester United player, hopefully in the long term. What's your take on the tall boy?
Big fan. I honestly think that he is the striker we've kind of been crying out for. It's kind of, I mean, I don't want to compare Højlund and Sesko, obviously, but and I think myself, if we had the same kind of players, for example, if Højlund was instead of Sesko in the moment, I mean, Højlund's have a great run of form at Napoli at the moment, and I think he's great. But I just feel like Sesko in the moment, the way he's brought the game into the way he's confident, you can see from his celebration that he is basically saying, I need to start. That reaction to the crowd and just kind of go in like that goal going in, and that composure as well. If you see the sprint from, you can see it in the actual, like in the highlights, right? Where the ball goes in, he taps it to Cunha, and Cunha absolutely does a delicious ball. Like, it's insanely good ball, right? And that ball, from that kick to finding Mbemo, he disappears. And then if Mbeumo's on it, you can see him like hold the player back, and then he comes back into focus, and he's absolutely sprinting down. Like, it is insane. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan at the moment of the three players that we've linked up: the Sesko, Mbeumo, and also Cunha at the moment. Just that combination with Bruno Fernandes on fire, and at one point, and probably at the moment, one of the best, most informed midfielders that I would argue the Premier League, and also we currently have at the moment in world football. So yeah, it's just exciting things.
So let me paint a picture really quickly, but first I'm going to give you a little nugget about our boy Benjamin. In the last 7 appearances that he has played, he has scored 6 goals. That has been under Carrick since Amorim has been kicked out the door. I am typically a fan of giving a manager time. The one unique instance that I have not been about that is with Amorim, because he was so inflexible and was not able to work with players and to get them on the same page and adjust his game plan. So I'm happy to see Sesko doing well under a new manager. But let's paint the picture of where Manchester United are sitting currently, because yeah, they've been flying as of late. They're sitting 4th in the Premier League table as of recording. That is a beautiful place to be, and unfortunately for my predictions, not looking too hot. So we'll have to look back at those predictions.
Yeah, excited for that. Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening in the league that are not looking good for my predictions right now, but I do like seeing United up in the Champions League qualification spots, because that's been rare the past couple of seasons. So not only, yeah, go ahead.
So I'll just say, do you think where do you think we end the season? Off the back of this current situation,
I would say we are in 4th. I would think that's a great spot to be, and I think we hold down that spot with Carrick in charge.
Hold down that spot. But even with the Liverpool, even with the Chelsea situation at the moment,
Chelsea have been looking quite fire. So I saw the stat on Blue Sky where if you take the results since Carrick was in charge and then look at the Premier League table of what it would be like of just the points from that time period, Manchester United would be first. Chelsea would be second, which scares me a little bit, because Chelsea have been on quite a good run as of late. And I do think that Chelsea are primed to look good. I think I actually put them toward the top of the table in my predictions. So that is a team that scares me. I'm not super worried about Liverpool right now. They've been having some rough form, but it looks like they might be figuring some stuff out a little bit. I'm still feeling good about United in 4th now. As long as my guy Carrick is in charge and he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm happy with that. Now, finishing off some of the positional things of where United sit now. So a lot of people have talked about the team spirit has been shifted, the way that Carrick communicates with players, establishes relationships, which is what you really need to be doing as a manager. Doing that is so underrated. And if you have some managers out there that have big clout, so we're talking about the Jose Mourinhos, Van Gaal, those types of managers have such a big personality, they almost feel like they don't necessarily need to come down to the players' levels and build those types of relationships. But you see a manager that does that, that helps a lot. You get results from that. You get players playing their best and they feel more comfortable. So that is something that is underrated from a lot of managers that you would think by default a lot of managers do. But when you dig into it, you see some managers just not doing that, not having those types of relationships. So that's a little sad to see. But we, of course, had the managerial instability under Amorim. So I actually want to throw a question to you about the man called Amorim. So he was very inconsistent. He was unflexible with some of the formational things that potentially needed to change to allow the current players to play the way that they're playing now. He was getting poor results. Why do you think it's such a difference of Amorim being out and then instantly Carrick coming in, and then there's just such a switch?
Key thing is confidence. I honestly think in the players individually, potentially, and maybe the key really is Steve Holland, right? The backroom was also assistant manager, backroom member, the team member for Gareth Southgate. And I think the way he's instilled each individual player and given them the confidence, perhaps that Amorim wasn't able to kind of give them. I think potentially as well, maybe there was that feeling that perhaps Amorim's tactics and his strategies aren't working. And like you said, there's that clarity now where Carrick's come in and gone, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. I want this, and there's that kind of thing. Even some of the corners, like even one of the goals that we'd scored before, where it's from a corner, Kobe Mainu runs out behind the keeper. The way that's strategized, and the ball comes to him, he puts it in, and Werner scores. Like it's just there's a sense of confidence, there's a sense of clarity, and I'm trying to find another C because I feel like confidence, clarity, and perhaps there's that whole potentially maybe the word is charisma. And if you look at it on the ball, there are players now, and some of them just are taking amazing, nice touches, putting it into players running into position, but there just feels like a bit of a swag and a bit of a charisma to Man United at the moment. And that's potentially why that it's been so easy to really get the results, because the other teams are also underestimating us because of where Amorim is. Each team that's kind of come in that first 3 games, all the other Premier League was shell shocked. Like what's the performance is beating the likes of City and also Arsenal on the way. We sent notice to the Premier League. That's what happened of those 2 games. So yeah, I think that's what happened when Carrick came in. It's the 3 words. Carrick allowed for 4 C's. Carrick, charisma, confidence, and just clarity. That's what I'm going to say was the key for Carrick. Carrick and the 3 C's. There we go.
Yeah, I agree. And you actually took one of the words I was going to use. I was going to say, if there is one thing that Manchester United is doing now that is leading to all these good results, it's clarity. 100%. So under Carrick, they know how they're building out of the back. They actually have a simple structure that they're using. They know what structure they're doing when they're pressing. They know their cues. They know where the runs are coming from when they are going and building out, and then they can just say, all right, we know where that run's supposed to be, so I can not even look and just ping the ball where it's supposed to go. They know who the focal point is on offense, and then how they structure their defense as they're transitioning back. The midfield's not chaotic anymore, which was a talking point that we talked about on our podcast, and you could see so many people having that conversation of what the heck is going on with the midfield. I was one of the individuals of saying that maybe we need to get rid of some of our older personnel that are in the midfield. But now some of those older gentlemen are performing a little bit better. I still think Casemiro takes up way too large of a wage bill, and he's a bit past his prime. But we're still squeezing some juice out. And I like him. He's a funny, weird guy.
One more season. Come on, Casemiro. One more season. That's all we need. One more season. Imagine Casemiro in in Champions League. That's what we need him, and we need him for those Real Madrid nights. We need him against the Inter Milans. That's what we need. We need a player of that level. I'm telling you.
I think I would rather have a different player of that level come in to support the midfield. Don't get me wrong. I like Casemiro. I just feel like we are trying to squeeze any juice that he has left, which, hey, squeeze it as much as you can. But the benefit of Fergie, the cool thing that he always did, even though it was controversial, he knew when a player was starting to edge down the end of the mountain of saying, all right, he's now on the downswing of his career, he gets him out and he gets the money for him. Like, he knew how to do that appropriately and made so many tough decisions and some enemies by doing that. But the results speak for himself. So I would love to see that back integrated.
I've got a final question before we end this out. So, top 3 players you see Man United getting in the summer. What is your, like right now, open checkbook, by the way. Let's just say open checkbook, right? What 3 players are you bringing in each position? As in, like, the positions you bring in. Just off the top of your head, what are you thinking?
That's a good question. I have no spending limits, so that makes life cool. The first one that I would instantly say is Rodri. If you can bring in Rodri to any team, your team automatically gets better, because if you have such a strong pivot in the center of your midfield, you are by default so much better. And look at Arsenal as an example. They brought in Rice a couple seasons ago, and having his presence in the midfield, he even gets a little forward now, which is a little bit more unique for what Rice's situation has been in the past. It's awesome. Having that strong player in the midfield would be great. Not going to happen. That signing will not be possible, but if I could sign any player for any money, Rodri is the top of my list. Now, you want another midfielder that's a bit more attacking that you can put in front of Rodri? Jude Bellingham, of course. Young, ton of talent, has such a great build, similar to the Sesko build, just a pure athlete, knows how to win. I'm taking Jude Bellingham all day to put in front of Rodri. Honestly, with those 2 signings, I'm not quite sure that we are going to lose many games. And then if I could maybe have one, I would say like more academy level signing. I want like a younger player that has some good uptick. I'm going to go with an American. I guess it's not really academy anymore because he's probably at the peak of his performance now. I'm going to say Pulisic, just from personal perspective. I would love to have Captain America joining us on our roster, and I want to wear a Manchester United jersey that says Pulisic on the back as soon as that transfer happens, which there was rumors of it happening like a few seasons ago, and I was disappointed that it didn't, but it was probably good because we probably would have not used him appropriately and destroyed his career like we have so many other players. So I would also be signing Pulisic. So if I had an unlimited transfer budget for Manchester United and any team had to agree, I'm saying I'm taking Rodri, Bellingham, and Pulisic, and we are for sure winning the Premier League, and we are also winning the Champions League with that roster.
Great shouts. I like it. I mean, when you said Rodri, I was like, oh, okay, fellow Man City man. I don't know how it's going to work. I like it. I think that's really good ones. My three were just going to be Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. I think he's insane in the middle of the park. I think him and Kobbie Mainoo in that space would be game changing. I would say this was a bit of a controversial one. Alvarez, from Atletico Madrid, old Man City player. I think he's great. Him with Lisandro Martinez at the back, just that kind of Argentinian link, just that experience. I honestly think he would be insane to have, just as a solid striker as well. And then the final thing, it's a bit more of a left. It's mainly because I think how good his throw-ins would be Coyote from Brentford, is it? It's from Brentford. Just if you watch one of the Brentford games, he's amazing down the wing for a start, amazing. But also imagine some of those throw-ins he can do from the touch from the sides and bringing those balls in would be insane. For like Sesko, for example, to get on top of them. I think that'd be almost like a little secret weapon for us, different angle for us to take, and he's also great on the pitch as well. So that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Good goal for. So it'd be Elliot Anderson, it'd be Coyote from Brentford, and also the final is Alvarez from Atletico Madrid at the moment. So yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be interesting to see.
I think we both took very different approaches. So I said, oh, money's not an option. I'm signing every massive player that would make us 1,000% better. And you actually gave us probably some more realistic signings that could actually happen next season. So we'll have to see if that will be the case. All right, but now I want you to, just with the signing topic really quick, give me one player. Money doesn't matter. Doesn't matter team allegiances that you would sign.
Any player.
Right
now. No
any
team.
League. Yes, as long as you don't say Mbappe, I will agree with you, because I think Mbappe is a great player, but it just seems like he is not the best team player and ends up creating some bad blood.
Because you've got an open checkbook of any player. You think all the top players in the world.
I mean, if you want to copy my right answer, which is Rodri, you can have that if you want.
I mean, if money's no object and no allegiances, there's only one answer to this, right? It's Erling Haaland, right? There's no other answer to this. Like, any club, if you give them an open checkbook right now and goes, this player will move to your club, irrespective of what the situation is, you go, I need goals in this team, I'm going Erling Haaland. There's no two ways about it. That's not even
I'm not taking him. Like, how? He's on the list, of course. Like, I would love to have him on any team. Okay. But he is not as flexible of a player. Like, you know how Erling Haaland plays. And he runs up, great touch, strong, finishes. He's the finisher in the box. And he has the speed and the size of a Viking. So don't get me wrong, awesome player. Yeah, any team would love to have him. However, it depends on the supporting cast that you have around him. If your team isn't fully built to support him, kind of like a Kylian Mbappe too, and we've seen it not work out well. If you don't have the right supporting cast, they're not going to do as well. So I'm saying Rodri or Pedri is probably two of the top
Pedri's
signings.
A good shout as well. I just think that Haaland in any squad makes him better. And I'm thinking he's a very expensive player in terms of his wage, etc. So I'm thinking, yeah, let's give him a go. But we'll see, man. One day, you never know. I mean, that's absolutely not happening ever, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, probably not. It's fine. If anything, he's going to Real Madrid at some point. We'll have to see when that transfer happens. But fam, we are out. Thank you for joining us. We will see you in 2 weeks right here on the feed. Before then, jump over on our Instagram and TikTok accounts at Nutmeg Podcast to DM us with your listener questions so we can dive into those on an episode and your take it or leave it submissions. Hopefully you're able to get on a pitch somewhere. If you do, just don't get nutmegged. Peace.